to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got PeeWee.
And man, all of a sudden I hit a guy's foot peg. His arms fly up. He goes down. He's just a little tiny guy too, man. I fell right on top of him. My foot went in the spokes of the wheel, and my foot came around where it stopped it up against the swing arm.
Yeah.
I dragged the bike on top. He was on my foot, and I was on top of the guy, and we slid for 17 feet on the guardrail, looking down at the water.
Wow.
When we got up, he had a big chunk of meat missing out of his face right here, and on his elbow, right here on his elbow, he had a big gash in his elbow. Me, I had a broken ankle because my foot went in the spokes. So, I was being my stupid ass self. You know what I mean? I didn't even know the guy. He was another prospect from Purdue. And I looked at him, and he looked at me, and I went, whew. Thank God we were wearing helmets.
Oh,
I was being a smart ass, bro, because I didn't know what to say to the guy because I just crushed him for like 17 feet.
Yeah.
I tried to grab the railing, but the momentum ripped my hand right off the railing. So I stayed on top of this poor guy for the whole time. So we could hear sirens coming, cops. And he looks at me and he goes, I got to go. I don't have a driver's license. I said, okay. So I got my foot out of the spokes. I'm standing up now, trying to straighten out my handlebars. My pipe, side of my gas tank smashed in. I had to readjust my throttle cables because when I went down, they crimped. It was like, full bore. So I had to unscrew them, loosen them down, so I got the throttle working. And I sat on the bike, and my ankle's killing me, bro. It was like this big around,
Throbbing. Poof.
Oh,
right?
man. Yeah, I didn't want to untie my shoe. I had these high up, like work boots on.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I'm not taking my foot out of that shoe. And then I was sitting on the bike, and this guy who's a member, he's a member now, Big Jerry, he was a good friend of mine, and he pulls up next to me. He goes, you okay, Wee? I go, oh, my ankle's fucked, man. And he goes, the cops are coming. They pull right up, and they said, hey, is there an accident here? And we said, yeah, somebody over there, because all the people, were watching. They're all standing there. So the cop goes over to see what's going on, and we turn around and we take off. And then we get back to the hotel, and that's when I was in San Francisco for that world run I told you about where I got yelled at.
Yeah.
Oh, I got yelled at again, bro.
Because of the accident, right?
Yeah, he says to me, what the fuck? Well, you know what? I was going to put your bike in the back of the truck because they had a truck following us. He goes, but you can ride that son of a bitch. My ankle was fucked, bro. He goes, you can ride that son of a bitch all the way back to Minnesota. And I had to. Yeah.
Wow. On a broken ankle?
Yeah. Dude, when I put my foot on the brake, I was grinding my teeth like, because, I had to push the brake. And I had to carry a can of gum out, carburetor spray. Kept spraying it on my fucking rotor to keep the oil off of it.
Oh, my God.
And my coil wire came off when we were going through the salt flats. And you know how hot it is there, right? We're going through the salt flats. Pack just keeps going. I pull off the side of the road. Nobody stops with me. Thank God I figured it out. I seen the wire off the top of the coil. I had a Leatherman on. I pulled it out with the little pliers. I unscrewed it. I put it back on there. And I jumped on the bike. I poured some oil into it. I had to carry oil in my saddlebags because you know how much I was going through. I take off. I'm doing like 120 trying to catch these guys. I catch up to them, man. My light comes on my dash saying oil, 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 I was thinking in my head, fuck it, I hope it blows up. You know what I mean? Because then I can't ride it. Yeah. So that son of a bitch wouldn't blow up, bro. It wouldn't blow up. So I pulled in the gas station, and they only take like 3.5 quarts of oil, and that's what it took, 3 quarts of oil. So
it was empty. It was empty.
It was empty, bro. And it was kind of funny because Jimmy was another prospect, and he was with, and him and Pat clashed all the time. And before we left, Pat says, "Check the straps, Jimmy." check the straps on the trailer, make sure the straps are tight. And he goes, yeah, I did. He goes, I just told you to check them again. Check the straps. I checked them. They're good. He goes, check the fucking straps. So Jimmy goes over and checks them. So it's kind of funny, bro, because we would like play these stupid little games, right? So we go into the men's room at a gas station, and we're standing at the urinal. It's me, Jimmy's over here, and Pat walks in, and he goes over here on this side. So there's all three of us at the urinal, right, taking a leak.
Yeah.
And Jimmy nudges me with his elbow. He nudges me. I look over at him, and he goes, like, just watch this. You know, and he's laughing. Hey, Pat. Pat looks at him and goes, what? And he goes, I just want to say I'm sorry that I was wrong and you were right about the straps. And he goes, hey, you know what? Go fuck yourself, Jimmy. Yeah, it was good, bro. It was good. And then Pat walked out of there, and me and Jimmy just like slapped each other right when I left. I said, man, you know how to piss him off. And then Jimmy was driving the truck, the bastard. You know what I mean? Because his bike blew up. So all of a sudden, when we walked outside, Pat turns to me and he says, you know what, PeeWee? You'll be lucky if you make it in this club. He says, you're about as bad as that other dumb son of a bitch in there. You know, and I was thinking, what? So, I mean, it just, bro, it was like from one extreme to the next. Every day was like, oh, what's going on today? And he tells us, you know, you guys, when you work together as a team of prospects, then we know, Billy, that your team belongs with our team, and then we're one team.
Yeah.
So when we see you guys working together as a team, that's when we're going to make you members. Okay. I go to breakfast with Pat. I'm sitting there eating breakfast with him, and he says to me, hey, stay away from Jimmy. And I go, why? He goes, he's bad news. Stay away from him. You get yourself in a lot of shit. So see, I mean, it was like they all contradicted them all the time, bro.
Yeah.
So I'm prospecting with you, but I can't talk to you or hang around with you because you're bad. I don't know what bad you were, but you were bad. And Jimmy was just funny, man. And one time we're sitting there, and I told him, I said, hey, Pat told me to stay away from you. And he goes, don't you get it? Are you stupid or something? I said, but what? He goes, Pat's a genius. I said, how do you figure, Jimmy? He goes, he knows how to work people. Like he'll go over and tell Billy, hey, you know, PeeWee said this, and you're like, well, that son of a bitch. And then he tells me something about you, and I'm like, that son of a bitch. And then, you know, me and you are about to ready to fight. And then he says, hold on a minute here. Now, let me talk to you guys. And this is how Jimmy ran it down to me.
He's the guy.
The mediator. He's the mediator.
Yeah. Wow.
And he's a good guy. He's the guy to go to, man. Pat will clear this up. And I looked at Jimmy. I said, he does do that. And Jimmy goes, yeah, you haven't figured it out, man? Jimmy was pretty funny. Jimmy was a no-care son of a bitch, bro. You know, he's had that big mouthful of chew. You know? Yeah. His lip always stuck out like, you know, he had a saucer in there or something, a plate. And we went to court, and I was sitting with him, and I never even knew he had this. And we were sitting there, and a bailiff walks over and says, did you hear the judge? He said, no hats, caps, or any chewing tobacco or cigarette. Spit that out of your mouth right now. Jimmy didn't have anything in his mouth. It's just his lip always looked like that, you know, like that stuck out lip. Yeah. Because I guess the chew, I don't know if you heard that, the chew's got like a fiberglass or something, and then it gets like, it cuts your mouth inside, and the nicotine gets in there. The fiberglass cuts your like little slits in your gum line. That's why you always get cancer of the gums. Cancer, yeah. Yeah. So we're sitting there, he says, I don't have anything in my mouth. Cop says, open your lip. Jimmy goes, you push his lip, going like that. And on his lip tattooed, it says, fuck you.
My buddy had that too. My buddy. Did he? Yeah. I
looked over it. I didn't even know it, bro. All the years I known him, I looked over it. I didn't even know he had that. Cop goes, yeah, that's cute. That's cute. So one time I said to Jimmy, Hey, you better stop dating that broad. You know, that broad gave 3 guys in this charter herpes. They call her Scary, Scary Sherry at the time, whatever the fuck it was. And I says, 3 guys, herpes, can't get rid of it. And you're dating her, Jimmy. Hope the hell you're wearing some protection or something. He goes, who cares? It's just herpes. And I says, just herpes. And he goes, it's like luggage, man. You just don't get rid of it. That was his logic, bro. That was his logic.
Yo, man.
And I still talk to him every once in a while, but he doesn't really talk to me much. He works on, believe this, he works on a friend of mine's sister owns a crematorium where they cremate people, right?
Yeah.
And Jimmy works on furnaces. And he comes all the way from Illinois to Minnesota, and he fixes the furnaces when they're not working right. So my buddy Paul goes, hey, aren't you a friend of PeeWee's? And he goes, yeah, me and PeeWee are old friends. So I got Jimmy's number, and I called him up. We talked, and he says, I don't ride. He doesn't do anything. He's married. He's got some kids.
How'd he get out of the club?
They threw him out. The same day they threw me out.
Same day?
Same day. He said, where are you going? Wait for me. Well, when I was walking out the door, I didn't have a rocker on, so he knew they threw me out already. And then they said, Jimmy, get in here. He was next. So as I was coming out, he was coming in. And he looked down, he saw I didn't have the rocker. He goes, wait for me. Because he bought his bike from the club, and he was like 4 payments behind. They were going to keep the bike, right? They did keep the bike. But he wasn't paying for it. It serves him right, but he wanted me to give him a ride home on my bike. Bro, I got on my bike and I rode away, man. Like I told you, like I just took a shit. I was like, whoo, I beat that bullet, And then he calls me up, hey, I wanted to ride. I had to walk. I said, what did they tell you? They said, they told me, oh, we're keeping your bike and you're out. Get out. They threw him out. He was just a guy that didn't give a fuck anymore, After a while, you just don't, you care or you don't care, But I cared all the way right up to the end. I cared. I cared every minute. You know what I mean? I tried. We can end it with stuff like this, Staxx. I tried my best to make it the best club that I could be in, because I knew I wasn't the best club. I just want to make it better and run smoothly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was more like a babysitting job, But,
like egos get in the way and things like
that.
A lot of different
and
things.
The jealousy and the bullshit, man. But do I regret it? No, I don't regret it. I love being Hell's Angel, and I just hate seeing what what's become of them. You know what I mean? They can do better. They just gotta pull their shit together and pull their heads out of their ass and do their thing.
I'm sure they will one day, right? What would you say to someone who is thinking about joining a club, maybe not that club, but a club? What would be your advice for someone who's thinking about being a prospect or joining?
I've had people ask me that, hey man, I'm thinking about joining this club, and they'll tell me, and I'll say, listen, if you think you can do that, and that's in your heart, and that's what you want to do, go ahead and do it. But let me explain something. You may end up losing your family over it. You may go to prison. You may get killed. Or I says, you may just end up losing so many jobs and you lose everything you got and you're at the bottom and you had no other choice but to quit or get thrown out. And that's the bottom dollar, man. I said, it's real facts, man. And so I said, I seen it. So just take that all in consideration if you didn't think. And he goes, I never thought about none of that. And I said, well, you better think about it,
Yeah.
Because it's reality, so I said, I'm just telling you this because of the time I put in there and the 10 years in the Sinners I was in there. I says, I've been in 2 motorcycle clubs, over 30 years of my life. So I said, you've got to put in what you want to get out of it. That's basically what it is,
Thank you, man.
You're welcome, bro.
I appreciate you. We'll do this again another time, and I'll have a bunch more questions for you. Still got more questions for you. And if you like this show, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. And if you don't like this show, too fucking bad. Start your own podcast. Peace. Thanks.